This is the Making Waves podcast. My name is Dave Rotman. We're here with Marty Overweg. Marty, welcome.
Hey, thanks, Dave. It's always good to be here. I've been here before and I enjoy it.
Could you tell us what district you represent and what office you hold?
I represent District 21. I'm the Assistant Majority Leader in the House of Representatives. I sit and chair on the Ag and Natural Resources Committee. I'm Vice Chair of State Affairs, and I'm also in the summertime in the interim committee. I'm co-chair of GOAC, which is Government Oversight and Accountability.
Well, those are all very important committees. Thanks for being with
Well,
us.
yeah, I like them. They're fun. A lot of action.
Speaking of action, the Future Fund was recently in the news. Could you explain to us what the Future Fund is?
Yeah, sure. So sometimes a future fund gets mixed up with GOED, which is stands for Government or the Governor's Office of Economic Development.
Mhm.
That is a board that businesses can go to for, if they're going to employ enough people. There's a bunch of different walkthroughs that they can get, and they have to go to a board sometime to get matching money. Sometime they can get their sales tax on equipment back.
Mhm.
But then the future fund, now the future fund is different. That is the fund, whoever the governor is, that governor holds in his hand that whole fund. And they can write checks to anybody. If you remember when Kristi Noem was governor and she just paid for the advertising on the race car, she
Mhm.
just was able to do that on her own without checking basically with anybody. And the future fund is funded by unemployment insurance. So for the unemployment insurance that a business pays, a certain amount of that goes into this future fund, and it's about $24 million a year that the governor gets at his discretion or her discretion. So we've been working on a bill. GOAC came with a bill as a committee this year, and it's in the Senate right now to put some guardrails up, some pretty good guardrails. More checks and balances have to go through some more committees before they just go out and spend the money. Lately, in the news has been the $69 million that the Future Fund gave to the CJ Swans, the new building in Sioux Falls.
Mhm.
That's what's been in the news. That was GoEd and Future Fund money up to the tune of $69 million. Now, whether you agree with the Future Fund or you don't, it's still good government to have legislative overwatch. And where people get mixed up is, yes, there is overwatch in the Board of Internal Controls,
Mhm.
but only the state auditor is the only elected official on that board. The rest of them are all either appointed by who's ever governor or by people who was appointed by the governor.
No.
So we're trying, the legislative branch is the people's voice.
Yeah.
So we think that the legislature should have some overwatch and some guardrails up on who's ever just spending this money.
That seems
And
obvious to me. I mean,
yeah,
this
well,
is
it
money that's
does.
been taxed
Yeah.
away because that's a tax. The legislature is literally the branch of government that's supposed to appropriate money.
Yeah. So we're having a hard time. Of course, the governor's office does not like our bill, does not like to be, have any controls. So we'll see where that goes. If you know, the governor 2 days ago put out an EO, the executive order, and it put a lot of our guardrails on the future fund, but they don't want it in statute. It's just an executive order, which
Which
means
can be
it can
changed
go
at any
away.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. We want to take some of those same guardrails in our own and we want to put them in statute because, you got to remember elections have consequences.
Mhm.
11 months from now, we might have a whole new governor. We might have a whole new legislature. We could have a
Mhm.
whole new board, and so that's important for us to put rules for the future. At least I believe it is important, but
I
I'm a
also
legislator.
I'd agree with that. I mean, this is more than just, I think, a difference of opinion between the two branches. This is actually a fundamental part of government.
Absolutely. It's the people's tax money or the people's money. It needs to
Right.
be watched where it's going.
Right. Fair enough. Now, there's another bill that you've recently dropped. It's a bipartisan bill, and it has to do with nursing homes.
Yeah. So in the town I live by, 10 miles from is Corsica.
Hmm.
And you probably have heard it in the news. It was a Good Sam home. Sanford, who owns Good Sam, they shut the doors on it. The problem is the community would like to try and keep that nursing home or in some sort of medical practice in there, whether it's a leisure living, trying something. But what Sanford does is they'll sell it, but with a non-compete. So that means you could never put any medical facility in that building ever, even to the next person you sell it to. It's a lifelong, forever, and it's horrible because these nonprofits like Sanford and Good Sam, they don't want to be a part of the small community, but they also don't want anybody else to. It's kind of like a little kid that doesn't want to play with a toy, but won't let anybody else do it. So I'm working with this bill with Erik Muckey. So it's a bipartisan Republican Democrat bill. And we're going to try to put some guardrails on and say that if you're in an underserved area, which is a lot of the state,
Hmm.
or in a community of 3,000 or less, that nobody may sell a medical facility of any kind with a non-compete.
It's very interesting that this would be happening. I mean, these most small towns have some sort of nursing home, right? And it's expensive to build a facility like that. And what do you do with a facility that's designed to be a nursing home if you're not using it for a nursing home?
Absolutely. And then that goes the problem.
Mhm.
It's very important. If we learned anything through COVID, Dave, is there's dignity in being born, there's dignity in life, and there's dignity in death. And when you go to the nursing home, most people are going there, and that's probably the last place they're going to live. They
Mhm.
need dignity and they need to be treated. They need to see the kids on the weekend, the grandkids.
Right.
If we start making our elderly go to nursing homes 100 miles or even 80, 50 miles away from home, they don't get seen, they don't get visited, right? This is
Mhm.
so important for life to keep these small town nursing homes, if we can, open. We're putting in this bill. Hopefully we can change Good Sam and Sanford's mind and they'll come to the table. I don't know. It's always hard to go up against those, they're big corporations, even though they're nonprofit.
Hmm. Well, good luck. That sounds like a just cause.
Yeah, thank you.
How is session going so far? It's only been a weekend. Give us the temperature of the room.
Well, it's early. We've had some stuff happen, but nothing unbearable. Your second year of your session usually goes quicker because you have more bills, but the new people have a year underneath their belt, so committees get going right away. We're moving bills out of committee already. I mean, if
Mhm.
if you're watching, we're working.
I can see that.
Another
Yeah.
thing is, yeah, and if for your listeners, all the committee rooms now have video as long with audio.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so you can watch me. My wife tells me how bald I'm getting now, so she can see me. But
Join the club. I'll
yeah,
put up
so
links in the comments here about.
if everybody listened to the governor's, this is one thing that we're starting to talk about now already, is the governor in his budget said he wanted to move the slush fund from 10%, which we normally carry every year just in case for emergencies, up to 12.5%, I think.
Hmm.
And you can check my numbers, but I think that's around 70 or 80 million dollars. He left 14 million on the bottom line, which really does nothing. It's really hard to do anything with that. That's bad to say or sorry to say, but that's what it is. So we're talking right now about whether as a caucus we want to look at keeping the slush fund at 10% and taking that and doing something else with the money.
Hmm.
So it's just things like that. We start right away. It seems like we're up here a long time, but I'm already counting the days down to where we got to have a budget ready to vote
Mhm.
on. We got to get the bills. LRC is telling us they drafted close to 900 bills.
That's a lot of bills and
It's a
not a
lot
lot
of
of
bills,
time.
which yeah, now a lot of them get pulled. So, we're probably going to be looking at that 600 mark. But, in South Dakota, every bill gets a hearing. And so every bill that gets started in the House or the Senate has to be heard by crossover day. We got a lot of bills to go and we're pretty efficient what we do. And we always get it done. And I promise you we always will because we have no choice.
Of
But
course.
it's going good. It's going good. We got a bunch of good legislators. South Dakota's being served well, I think. It's going good. I'm happy so far.
All right. Well, that's been very interesting, and I really appreciate you talking about those two issues with us. Do you have any final thoughts?
The session's early. We'll see. We got a lot of things to talk about. We just don't have a lot of money, which might make it easier. I don't know. I'm sure, I hate to bring this up, but I'm sure, the big three, the CSPs, the teachers, and our employees not getting anything. I'm sure that's going to be a big discussion because I can see there's probably going to be quite a few legislators that are going to want to try to do something. Like I said, it is early. We'll just have to see where it goes.
It is going to be different with the budget because the COVID money is run out, and so the budgeting is going to be a little tighter.
Well, we did make some mistakes back with the COVID money. The one thing you have to be careful of is, we built some governmental monsters with that money that were pretty easy to feed when we had the money. But now that we don't have the money, they're still hungry. And those programs, that's what I always guard against is what are you building that you got to feed later? So we're going to address some of that stuff. And I would just say for all the listeners out there, find out who your representatives and your senator is, and don't be scared to get in the process. You send them an email, give them a phone call, and let them know what you think. It's good. It's good practice.
Well, thanks for being with us.
Hey,
This has been
thank
the
you.
Making Waves podcast. My name is Dave Rotman. We've been here with Marty Overweg at District 21. Thanks, Marty.
Thank you, Dave.